In Genshin Impact, nothing is what it seems, and concretely many times Archontes are not Archontes, and you know a story. Aside from that, Hoyoverse has always left us clues as to how the characters are going to be, and today in this video, I am going to bring both a big and interesting background that could be associated with what we know today as Mavuika, who may or may not be the Archonte, but above all, I will bring you part of the kit and things that I think very solidly will be quite confirmed. In the character and why at the level of utilization, combat, skill kit, and synergies with the other characters. So if you want to know everything about the Archon Pyro Mavuika, leave a good like, a good ulti of Bennett, subscribe, leave a good comment for the algorithm. Thank you for enjoying and watching the channel video. Remember that thanks for everything helps a lot, costs us nothing. Of course it is free. Run! I'm watching you. Give it like there. Alright. Thank you very much. And that supports and contributes a lot to the channel for. Let's grow up so that the channel is recommended, so that all this grows. Thank you. Well, Mavuika, I'm going to start with speculations related to the lore, the primordial dragons, and so on. It makes you very excited because it will be a bit shorter part, since above all I will investigate in all the signs that we have to know quite accurately the current kit of Mavuika. Well, the theme of the lore I think you already know, not only now, which is related to the resurrection NATLAN has been commented on in the live stream. The theme of Signora has been discussed. The theme of reviving Genshin in the Nation of the Resurrection has been discussed. It's basically all fan service and amazing references, and not only that, but as a wink in this video, if you're from Latin America and you're watching it, remember that in the trailer of NATLAN Italy, there was at first a moment when Brian tells you, "Hear the key time?" He already knows it, and you're looking at it in the background. I think many have said, it is impossible that they would have just started a reference to Brian seeing you. So friends, the lore of Mavuika is related to the resurrection. In the trailer, they teach us how, literally, is a phoenix, and we already know the theme of the mounts, with which we know that the best possible mount of all NATLAN is the Mavuika himself, that becomes some kind of flying phoenix that allows us to explore much better than any other mount. And remember, all mounts are worth all TVAT, and this will greatly improve the exploration experience throughout Genshin Impact. Not only that, but in many earlier videos with dates, I talked about there might be 2 Sarkans in NATLAN. And not as foe killer, if Furina or Ruka Debata with Nahida or Belzebu and Baal, i.e. Raiden and Makoto. That many will say good is true, they are telling us a lot about the story of the 2 Sarkans. Karabian and Venti, though Karabian never was. No, friends, this time maybe is the first time they bring us 2 Sarkans, pliable and so far I can read. Now, last point related to the lore. Remember that lately they bring us a dragon, almighty primordial, and people are talking and waiting for Xvalank inside Genshin. Hasn't been seen in the trailer, and possibly a lot of people speculate that it's a 5-star Bennett. Just like Mabuka is a 5-star Xiangling, but nobody's talking about Quetzalcoatl, and nobody's talking about enough things that can happen because NATLAN is the region prior to Snezhnaya, and the last agnostic missing from the Archon, Cryo. Zaritsa or Sarina. It is NATLAN's agnosis, because once he has NATLAN's agnosis, he will already have all the agnoses, because you already have the Cryo, which is the last one we haven't seen yet, i.e. in NATLAN you can close many chapters in circle that do not yet conclude related to the main story of Genshin Impact. All this is the achievement, and sure that right now, you've got the MiHoYo tight enough. And you'll say, Phil, but my mother, what do you say now? I'm going to talk about the Archonte kit, but I'm going to talk about the Archonte kit with tests and things, signs, and lots of references that will give us literal keys too. Understand the Archonte kit. Well, I take up Nahida and Furina much earlier, of course, from Mavuika. There's a trend in Genshin, and it's that we get carried first, and then these carries give us signs of how it should work. The Archon, to improve these carries. Examples in Zumeru happened that before Nahida in 3.2 came out Sino and Tignari, who's So Diane's best in slot from far away is Nahida. We needed a character to complement the performance of these characters. to apply correctly and fully inside and somehow to buffet much more, in this case the mastery of Sino and Tignari. In addition, Tignari had a 12-second rotation, so that an Archont was approaching 12 seconds. Of Tignari himself. Then of course in Sumeru came more carries, Alhaitham, etc. Now we're going with Fiorina. Previously on Fiorina came Laini, Ryothesley, and Novelet. Basically, Laini, Ryothesley, and Novelet. Their best in slot is Fiorina, but before Fiorina existed, we already had clues as Laini needed a character to apply Hydro out of the field without relying on giving normal attacks, as is Xingqiu or Yelan, because Laini is loaded if he does quite a few nukes with his ulti and his elemental, and has rotation of 15 seconds as well. Ryothesley has a rotation of 10 and 6, and not bad with Yelan, but Yelan has a rotation of 18. And finally, there was the Ghost Hunter set. That gave us the sign that it was going to combine very well, a character that we make you lose and earn life in different ways, and in the end, Fiorina had rotation of 15 that can adapt to 20 makes us lose and earn a living and hit with Hydro and apply decently less on the Raiden National, unlike Yelan in all fair. Teams where you can play and add everything was fulfilled. Well, in the current Pyro Archon there are signs not only of the Karis. Mualani and Kindish are going to tell us how it works, but there are also several weapons that they are telling us as mandible. Because we know in a confirmed way that Mavuika is maneuvering how Mavuika is going to work. Well, today, number 1, Kinnish and Mualani have rotation of 18 and 15 respectively, the only character we know that. Looks like Mavuika today is Siangling, maybe Deya too, and have rotation of 20 and 18 respectively with what? Mavuika's rotation is pretty clear that it's going to be between 16 and 18 seconds, and I dare say closer to 16 already. That all Archonte supports mainly Nahida, Venti, and Good and Zhongli also. What knows is Nahida, Venti, Zhongli, and Fiorina have very low cooldowns in the case of 20 and 15 seconds in the case of Fiorina. Can be adapted to 15 seconds, and in fact it has 15 in its ulti 20 in its elemental, but its elemental lasts 30 seconds with L, which your elementary may be in field 2 rotations of 15. Nahida 13.5, if I said it, 20 and 15 Zhongli, has in the ultimate 12 seconds of cooldown, and i.e. Mavuika is quite possible to be a kind of Siangling, but instead of 20 seconds of fire. Just like Fiorina with Lin and Ryothesley at the time for Permafrost, and Linny's Vaporized need a character to apply Pyro continuously outside the field, and if possible, apply Pyro in an uncompromising way that means a lot of damage Pyro. And a lot of Pyro application out of the field is saying here is telling us the game itself that Mavuika will be a Siangling of power. 5 stars almost confirmed way. Now Mavuika will work with attack. And you will tell me, Phil, and as you know by 2. Very clear signals. Basically, Nahida works masterfully because Android's consonance gives mastery of reactions from. Android gives mastery the main weapons of Sumeru Forge, gives mastery the catalyst of Sumeru. Forge gives mastery, and everything in general inside is related to mastery. This applies to the Hydro consonants. Hydro gives Noibeleth Lai, goes alive, everything related to the Hydro. Goes with life, Mualani goes with life, Kokomi goes with life, Barbara goes with life and consonants. As I said before, I'm repeating the Hydro consonants is Mavuika will wear an attack clock, and it will work. I don't know if it's going to blow the team's attack, but Pyro's consonants guess gives 25% attack with which everyone. We know that Mavuika will go with attack currently apart. I can confirm you as all the damage of Mavuika will come from her ability. Elementary why? Because the mandible of NATLAN's forge that is already in fact tells us, and you will see it on screen. Gives us a high attack main stat, a percentage attack substat, and the passive says increases the damage inflicted by the skill. More text blah 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 blah, but it's going to hurt you much more in your elementary ability. Zumari. Mavuika and all its damage is quite possible that they are in their elementary ability, and their ulti is to enhance their own elemental ability like sub DPS or applicator or apply to a class of buff or attack to the computer. And finally, Fontaine's main mechanics was the issue of earning and losing life that activated the Ghost Hunter set. Well, Mavuika, NATLAN's main mechanics, and NATLAN's characters is the Noctambula blessing that is then divided. In more passive, one related to exploration, and one related to combat. That is the Night Soul Burst then, basically. It's when there are more NATLAN characters, and these characters do elemental damage, they activate 1, 2 or 3 charges of this passive, which in the case of Kinish, give him more damage to his gun, and in the case of Mualani, give him more damage to your ulti. As easy as that, it's just more damage, there's not much text quiet. Spoiler, at the beginning of NATLAN, we won't be able to activate all the charges of either Kinish or Mualani, but it's also your set. The Carrick set that gives you 40% critical probability. It's activated with these related passives and the set of supports that it's going to give you. I think it's about 40% elemental and physical damage to the character that you have a reaction related to the element to which it was reacted and can be activated outside the field. Guess that set of supports is for the Pyro Archon. The Archon Pyro will have a set that will triumph 40% of bonus elemental damage to the Carricks in question if it does a related reaction. With that element, that is to say, in the case of Mualani, a vaporization of the Hydro on the Pyro that will be the element of Mavuika and in the case of Kinish, a crackling burn, we already know that the kits of Mualani and Kinish are literally vaporized. Mualani and to crackle and burn Kinish, which again is an element that is a reaction with the Pyro, which is the element of Thi. The Pyro Archonte, with which the Pyro Mavuika Archonte, will go with the new NATLAN set of supports. We'll have attack clock, Alice Pyro, and probability helmet or damage surely. In case you want to pre-punch, the main source of the damage will be the elementary ability, and many people will ask, well, but no gold company. It will be 1,000 times better to play with your new NATLAN set than buffer to the main carry 40% elemental damage, and also with knowing all this, not only do we know that it is manageable, but we know that it goes with attack and that all the damage will be its elementary ability, salty, for surely what you do more bubbling the team or increasing its own damage. And that will be applied to Pyro outside the field. That his cooldowns will be 16 seconds and that he's going to be a spectacular character because he's possibly a flying mount. And one of the best characters in the game. Now we have to wait if there is a second Archon and what will happen to the dragons. Exalango Quetzalcoatl. Little more. This is Mavuika's video, the Pyro Archonte and all the signs of its kit and what we know so far about it. I hope you come to the video when Mavuika comes out, and I hope to see this video myself and see how many things I got right and scared if I got almost everything right or we didn't get it right and laugh at our mistakes. Little more. Leave a good like, a good Bennett utility, subscribe, leave a good comment for algorithm. Thank you for enjoying and watching video the channel. How much from 1 to 10 those who have reached the end have for the Archonte? Leave it in the comments, and now if you take care very much, have a very good day. Do not be mini-minis and goodbye.